Hello, my loves. The day has gotten past me, but I just wanted to send a shout out to you to see how you're doing. It has been a long day. I'm hoping that you're doing well. I'm hoping that you're thriving because these are some serious times. And so we need to make sure that we are waking up to new ways of doing things. And I was looking at a book I had from Alice Walker. It has some nice poems in it, but she says in this book of poems that hard times require furious dancing. And she has some interesting poems in there, and one of them is, I guess, all grandmothers to get busy and jump out into the world and make a stand. But this is a time when we really need to stay awake and stay abreast of what's going on. And so I thought I'd talk briefly about staying woke. And I'm laughing because every time I hear that word woke, I think of my niece, because we had this tradition, family tradition, where we would go on a summer vacation and we would all be in the same house. And the children or the cousins would all be asleep all over. And I don't know what prompted my niece to say, "I'm awoke." We all start laughing. And that has been a phrase that has stuck with her. I'm sure you probably have some phrases that are stuck with you. But this being awoke is interesting because when I'm thinking about being awoke, it's like we got so much going on in our minds and so many things popping in that there's a lot of worry. We're all worry. And so how to stop the worry, how to do some things to not worry is our goal. So I just wanted to pop that in your mind, because that reminds me of resilience. And resilience is that skill of dealing with especially unanticipated change. We got to manage this unanticipated change. And this storm that we're going through right now is unanticipated, and it's throwing us off our game plan. We had a regular way of being in the world, but now we have to figure it out. And it seems as though the normal way is the old way, and but adapting to change, adapting to the unanticipated, becoming resilient is a new skill. It's a new mandatory skill. So how do we do that? And I guess the part of the resilience I just want to talk briefly about, because I could be a little sleepy, but I promised I would get something out. And but I remember a time when I was exposed to something, was a new situation, and I think it was probably when I had my kidney transplant, and I don't know if I knew that they had put a stent in, and they said, well, now that you're better, we're going to take the stent out. And I thought, what stent? And so now I'm really, really anxious. And the crazy thing is, I'm now at this professional medical center and I'm seeing a doctor. I'm in the room by myself, and my mind is going crazy. And I think I'm experiencing an anxiety attack. And I'm thinking, okay, counselor, how are you going to talk yourself off the wall? And that seems to be what we've got to learn how to do today and every day. We've got to know how to flip our minds when things start happening to us, because our mind is the first thing that goes crazy, and then it starts sending off all these fight or flight messages, and then we go a little nuts. So we just have to think about how we're going to deal with all these different things that want to trigger us to go to the dark side, want to trigger us to be fearful. We have to develop a plan of action. What would I do? You know, if I was on fire, of course we'd want to put the fire out. And I guess the infamous phrase for what you do on fire is you stop, drop, and roll. Well, we're not on fire, but we're in the midst of facing something that is huge and growing in proportion to anything that we have ever known, and it's crazy. So how do we put out the fire in our lives? How do we deal with this storm? What do we do? Well, I was listening to a webinar, and this doctor was talking about how lupus and the coronavirus, how to handle it. And after she gave her little tidbits and everything, they said, well, is there one thing that you want to say as you end? And she said, yes, stay connected. And I thought, wow, of all the things that I'm sure that she could have said, and she had said a lot, but the most important thing is staying connected. And it's these relationships, it's taking care of ourselves, it's getting rest, it's getting exercise, it's keeping the relationship going. Because, and I thought it was great because she said, and she didn't think we should be saying social distancing, we should say physical distancing, because we are not distancing socially, we're distancing physically. And that's good to know. So we're just trying to thrive. We're just trying to hang in there together. We're just wanting to love each other. And one little thing that might be helpful is if we were to, when we start to feel anxious, then we're seeing how we're feeling and how we're handling that. If we're starting to feel anxious, we would have our little toolkit, a little toolbox. I think it was an interesting thing. It's like maybe before you even getting ready to go into a meeting that you feel a little anxious and uptight about, you would already have made a list of the things that bring you joy or inspire you. You would, I don't know, have a picture of your loved ones, or maybe have a song written, or, just all the things that would bring a smile to your face. I mean, you could do it, you can have it a physical list or a physical one, or you can have a digital one. So before you get ready to go into a situation, you could just look at that. And before you go into this meeting, or to this place that you think is going to trip you up, you would take a look at a smiling face, or you listen to a song, or whatever it is, but it would bring you joy. And that would kind of take away the edge off of anything that was starting to arise. So one tip tonight would be just to have your toolkit, take care of yourself, stay woke, and we'll talk more later. I just want you to know that I have gotten some interesting comments texted to me. So I said, oh, well, somebody's listening. But the whole purpose is just to tell you I love you. We've got to be resilient in this. We've got to have that skill. We've got to get our mind under control. Someplace it was saying if you're a regular meditator, those who regularly meditate tend to have a rapid recovery rate because we've been training our mind. So, meditate, get some rest, develop your digital or physical toolkit, and I'll see you tomorrow. Love you.